every what, there is a why. Yes. For every what, there is a why. And you see, why is a chain that you follow backwards. Yes. Why is a chain that you follow backwards. Great evening, guys. Thank you so very much for joining us again on another exciting Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade. Yes, I am Mr. Upgrade. I'm super excited to have you here join us today on another exciting Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade. On the Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade, we basically get to do 4 things. Yes, number 1, we're going to take your questions. So if you have any question whatsoever, feel free to send in your questions. We'll gladly take them. Number 2, we got to share with you the Upgrade Mastery tip for the week. And for this week, the Upgrade Mastery tip is why. Yes, why. Number 3, we get to connect, network, and bond, because the people who join the Upgrade Live come from across the globe. So it's important that we get to connect, network, and bond while we have this conversation. And then number 4 is that we get to have fun. Yes, we get to have fun, because I strongly believe that if learning is not fun, there is no learning at all. So we get to have fun while we do the Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade. So I'm super excited. I'm super pumped that we're doing this today. And by the way, happy new month. Yes, this is the first day in the month of March 2026. And I'm super excited for you because you've successfully gone through January and February in 2026, and you're marching forward and you're making progress. So sit back, relax, don't go anywhere. This is a good time for you to copy the link for this conversation and share on your group chat, put on your status, let more people get to know, so that they too can experience what you're about to experience, which is the upgrade side of life. I'm super excited for you today, because trust me, today's conversation is going to be transformational for you. It's really going to change your perspective to a lot of things, right? Okay, so guys, this is it. We always begin with questions. Like we said, the first thing we do here is to take questions. So if you have any question, feel free to send in your questions in the comment, and we would take your question. But also, while we wait for your questions to come in, we also begin with our basic 5 questions. Yes, and these 5 questions help us to set the tone for the conversation. And these 5 questions help us to lay the foundation so you have a better understanding by the time we begin to go deeper into the conversation. So are you ready? If you're ready, I want you to type ready in the comments so I know that you're ready, and so that we can begin in earnest. So let me see the ready in the comments so I know that you're ready, and so that we can begin this conversation, because there's so much we need to cover, and there's so much that you need to get exposed to for the reason why. Okay, now our basic question number 1, right? Let's begin. What is why? When you hear the word why, what comes to your mind? You know, when things happen, people say, why? Why does this happen? Why do you have to do this? Why? You hear people talk about why. So when you hear why, what comes to your mind? What is why? WHY. What is why? I'll tell you what it is, right? But you can tell me, put in the comments, what do you think why is? Put in the comments, let's see. What do you think why is, right? From the upgrade side of life, like we always say, definitions, you won't find them anywhere, so pay attention, right? Why? WHY. What does it mean? I'll tell you what it is. Why? It is the engine of learning. Follow me closely. It is the engine of learning that helps you to move from a passive observation to active understanding. That, my friend, is why. I'll say that again. Why is the engine of learning that helps you move from passive observation to active understanding. Why it takes you from passive observation, just observing passively, to active understanding. So this, my friends, this is why. It is the engine of learning that helps you move from active observation, from passive observation to active understanding. So when you're asking why, you're technically moving from passive observation to active understanding. So technically, why helps for better understanding. And that's why we said that you will never truly understand things until you understand why. I'll say that again. You never truly understand things until you understand why. Does this make sense? Okay, great. So question number 2, who's responsible for why? Now you know what why is. Who then is responsible for why? The answer is simple. You are responsible for why. You are responsible for asking why. You're responsible for finding out why. You are responsible for why. Why is this like this? Why is this not happening like this? Why? You are responsible for why. So the why you don't ask, you don't get. So who's responsible for why? You are responsible for why. Are you getting this? So for your personal development, you are responsible for why. For your growth, you are responsible for why. For your finances, you are responsible for why. So technically, you are responsible for why. Now, question number 3. Why do we need why? What's the need for why? Why do we need why? Why is why a conversation we should be having at all? Why do we need why? I'll tell you 3 reasons why we need why, right? 3 simple reasons why we need why. Number 1, curiosity, right? Curiosity. You need curiosity. Why helps you with staying curious. Yes, curiosity. The second reason why is clarity. Why helps you gain clarity? So much clarity that you are never confused about anything. Why? Why helps you gain clarity that you're never confused about anything? The third reason why is for depth, right? To go deep, to understand things better, you need why. Why takes you beyond just, why? For depth. So 3 reasons why you need why. Number 1, curiosity. Number 2, clarity. Number 3, for depth. This is why you need why. Question number 4. What are the benefits of why? What do you stand to gain when you understand why? What are the benefits of why? I'll tell you 3 benefits of why, right? 3 benefits of why. Number 1, you go beyond the surface level. Whenever you want to go beyond surface level on things, you must be asking why. I get this. Why will always take you beyond surface level. You're not just superficial. You're not just doing things superficially. Why takes you beyond the surface level? You go down deep. The benefit of why, number 1, is beyond surface level. So why people are thinking things about on the surface, taking things from the surface, you're asking why. You're going beyond the surface level. Are you getting this? Number 2, second benefit of why is that you arrive at the root cause. When you see an iceberg, 90% of that iceberg is already submerged underwater. It's only 10% you are seeing above water. Are you getting this? So why helps you to arrive at the root cause, not just what you are seeing. It takes you beyond surface level. It takes you to the root cause. You really figure out what happened, why it happened. Root cause. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? Great. The third benefit of why is you know the true reason. Something may happen and you really don't know the reason. But until you start to question the why, you'll never arrive at the true reason. So you see why this why is beneficial. First, you go beyond surface level. Next, you arrive at the root cause. Next, you know the true reason. So why helps you get the true reason? Not what you assume, not what every other person thinks, but the true reason. There was a case they brought to Jesus, a man who was born blind. And the Pharisees asked Jesus, who sinned that this man was born blind? Was it his parents? Was it the man? And Jesus said, none. but that the glory of God will be manifested in the man's life. Are you getting this? So why helps you know the true reason. When Jesus met the woman who has been bound for 18 long years, and he said, ought not this daughter of Abraham, whom the devil has bound for 18 long years, be loosed? True reason. So 3 benefits of why. Number 1, beyond surface level. Number 2, you arrive at root cause. And number 3, you know the true reason. Now, question number 5. When is the best time for why? When is the best time for you to understand why or to get into knowing why? When is the best time? The answer is simple. The last best time for anything was yesterday. The next best time for why is now. Now is the next best time. So whatever it is you're about, or whatever it is that you do, now is the next best time to figure out why. Now. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? So now is the best time to figure out why. Things are not going the way you expect them to go. Now is the best time to figure out why. Not tomorrow, not later, but now. These are our basic 5 questions, and we hope that this has helped you to begin to get a grip into what we're about to talk about in why. So now, let's move forward. Let's break this down for you, because there's so much we need to unpack on this conversation on why. Are you still here? Is this making sense? Right? Okay, so let's get down into why. Let's get down to business. Why? Today's topic is why. Let's get down into why. WHY. 3 letters, simple word, but very important meaning. Right? So the W in why is what? The H in why is heart. The Y in why is you. So technically, why is what hearts you. What hearts you. Now, let me break this down so you really understand. The what is an inquiry. You know, I said earlier when we started, for every what, there is a why. For every what, there's a why. So when you're asking, what happened? What is this? What is the end game? What is the big picture? You are going to figure out why. Are you getting this? You're figuring out why. So W in why is what? You know, everybody saw the apple fall off the tree. Only Isaac Newton asked why. Because what is this? Why did it fall down this way? And that was the beginning of the discovery of gravity by Isaac Newton. So you must understand that the W in why is what? What is this? What is this leading? What are we doing? What? You are trying to figure out the essence, the purpose. Are you getting this? So you must be comfortable asking why. Because you really want to know. You do not want to be in the dark. You want to know. Right? Now, the H in why is heart. You always get to the heart of things by asking why. You know, you're going beyond the surface. You're going beyond what everybody assume could be it. You know, we assume a lot. And I've told us this, that whenever you assume, you make an ass of you and me. Why helps you go to the heart of things? You know, sometimes they say that the heart of the matter is that it's a matter of the heart. Why is at the heart of things? The heartbeat, the essence, the purpose, the heart of it, the core of it. You know, when things happen, many times people just only look at what has happened. People don't get to figure out why what happened. So going to the heart is the key to knowing what really happened. So let's take an example. If there's an accident, for instance, and they say, oh, it was the bad road, right? The bad road didn't just suddenly appear. What led to the bad road? Right? For probably a little patch on the road was bad and then it was ignored. Right? What led to that little patch that was ignored? Who were the people responsible for fixing it that didn't fix it? So you see, you're going back to the heart. So it's not just the bad road that led to the accident, but what actually led to the bad road itself that led to the accident. You're going to the heart. So if there's a breakup in the relationship, for instance, it's not the day that the person walks away that the breakup happened. The person may have been bringing things up previously that was ignored. The person may have been sharing concerns that was trivialized. So you see, the heart of the matter is what why goes to. The heart, why it happened. Not just what happened, but why it happened. Are you getting this? The why in why is you, which is to say that you as a person must always figure out the words, get to the heart of things. Don't take things hook, line, and sinker. Figure out the what, figure out the heart. That's the only reason you can really figure out what has happened. That's the only reason, that's the only way you can get to why it happened. Figure out the heart, figure out the why. Are you getting this? Figure out the what, figure out the heart, because it's up to you to know the why. So don't just take it as a seed. Don't take it at face value. No. Figure out the what, figure out the heart. Because the why is up to you. Does this make sense? Are you learning something? Right? You see, why is a mind pushing against the boundaries of its own knowledge? Why is the mind pushing against the boundaries of its own knowledge? So you see, figuring out why, asking why stretches you. It's your mind pushing the boundaries of its own knowledge. You're not just comfortable with whatever it is that you are just told. You're pushing the boundaries of your own knowledge. Why is this? Why do I have to improve myself? Why do I have to be intentional with personal development? Pushing the boundaries of your own knowledge. Are you getting this? Why is critical? Does this make sense for you? Right? And you see, why applies the principle of sufficient reason. Why? It applies the principle of sufficient reason. So with why, you need to get sufficient reason. Sufficient reason. One reason is not enough. Two reasons is not enough. You need to get sufficient reason. It applies that principle of sufficient. Are you getting this? So understand this, guys, that for every is, there must have been a was. And for every what, there is a why. I'll say that again. For every is, there must have been a was. And for every what, there must have been a why. Do you get that? Now, Three things about why that I want you to understand, and I want you to begin to have introspection on. Three things about why. Number one, question. Number two, dig deep. And number three, uncomfortable. Now, these are three things about why that you must understand. First, why begs the question. Why ask question? Why is inquisitive? Why is curious? Why ask questions? Why? It's a question. And like I said, questions are more important than answers. So why is a question? Why is this? Is a question. Are you getting this? Second thing, dig deep. Why helps you to dig deep? You go beyond surface level. You go beyond what everybody just assume. Like I said earlier, why takes you beyond taking things at face value. You don't just swallow everything you are told, hook, line, and sinker. You dig deep. What helps you in digging deep? That you get to really arrive at the root cause. Are you getting this? So you dig deep with why. The third thing about why is it's uncomfortable. So when people start asking why, other people start getting uncomfortable. Because they actually just believe that people should take things as they see it. Don't ask why. Just accept it. So asking why produces a certain kind of discomfort for some people. If you notice, there are some people who don't like taking many questions because it starts to ruffle their feathers. It starts to make them jittery. Why? Because why can get people uncomfortable. And you need to be asking yourself why. Why am I doing this? Why am I in this relationship? Why am I doing this investment? Why am I in this association? Get yourself uncomfortable so you can arrive at the depth that you should get to. There's nothing on the surface. The surface is crowded. The surface is crowded. Go deep. And you don't find rare gems at the surface. You go deep to find gems. So which means why helps you discover gems. It helps you unearth gems. So three things about why. Number one, question. Number two, you dig deep. And number three, uncomfortable. Right? Now there are two traits. Two traits of why. These are two traits that help you to know if somebody is very inquisitive about why. Two traits of why. Right? Two traits. Number one, discovery. With why, you get to discover a lot of things. When you start asking why, you start to discover what you did not know just by asking why. There's discovery that happens with why. Why is this like this? Your minds are open to new perspective. There's discovery that takes place with why. There's a discovery. Are you getting this? Does this make sense for you? The second trait of why is clarity. So now that you've discovered, you gain clarity. These are the traits of why. Discovery and clarity. Why do I get to do this every Sundays? Because I believe that you can be a better version of you. When you get to discover yourself and have more clarity about yourself. So every time I show up with different conversations, that would help you. And if you look at the conversations, they look like they are stringing along each other. Last Sunday, we talked about question. This Sunday, we're talking about why. And you could see that in question, you are figuring out why. You're arriving at the root cause. So two traits of why: discovery and clarity. Now, the one goal of why is the cause. The cause. Everything has a cause. You know, they talk about cause and effect, right? Everything has a cause. Don't just look at the effect, look at the cause. I told you earlier, I used the example of a relationship. When people break up, don't look at the effect, which is the breakup. Look at the cause. What led to the breakup? Nobody wakes up and breaks up. There must have been a cause that has been ignored that led to the breakup. Are you getting this? So the goal of why is the cause. What is the cause of this? What is the reason for this? So when you're asking why, it's because you want to arrive at the cause. You know, many times people are dealing with symptoms instead of them to deal with root cause. Are you getting this? Now, let's say you have a disease, right? An example. And one of the symptoms is that you are feeling headache. Now, you go ahead and you take Panadol for your headache. That's you treating a symptom without figuring out the cause of the disease. Are you getting this? So you have not dealt with the cause. That's why you notice back in the day when they do those adverts for drugs and medication, they always say, if the symptoms persist after 2 days, please consult your doctor. Are you getting this? So you must get to the root cause if you ever have to deal with any issue. The same thing with why. Why helps you arrive at the cause, not just the effect. Because in life, there is cause and effect. But many times people are too fixated on the effect that they don't figure out the cause. Life is cause and effect. Why and what? Are you getting this? Is this making sense? So the one goal of why is the cause. What's the cause? What's the cause? See, guys, life is cause and effect. For every action, there's equal and opposite reaction. It's the action that triggers the reaction. But people are always fixated on the reaction, ignoring the action. Are you getting this? So that's why there is the cause and the effect, because for every action, there is the equal and opposite reaction. Are you getting this? Is this making sense for you? Great. Now you see, why helps you arrive at the root cause. I've been saying this. You must get to the root cause. Stop dealing with symptoms. Stop dealing with fruits. Get to the roots. I'll say that again. Stop dealing with fruits. Get to the roots. Because why helps you arrive at the root cause. You know, when Jesus spoke to the tree that had no fruits, the tree died from the roots. Are you getting this? The tree died from the roots. So why is you getting to the root cause, not figuring out the fruits, but figuring out the roots? Does this make sense for you? Right? Now, there's something called the 5 why framework, and I want you to pay attention to this. The 5 why framework is something that I strongly recommend you do to yourself from time to time. Now, this is what the 5 why framework will do for you. Pardon me, I'm a little bit under the weather, but we got to go on. Now, this is what the 5 why framework will do to you. 5 why. And this is what it does, right? You ask the first why. When you get a response, from that response, you ask the next why. When you get a response, you ask the next why. When you get a response, you ask the next why. When you get a response, you ask the final why. Now, The 5 why response is what helps you actually get to the root of the situation. So you don't take the first response they give you. You ask, why is this? When they give you another response, why is it? When they give you another response, why is it? Now, at this point, they're already getting uncomfortable. When they give you another response, why is it? By the time you arrive at this why, you'd have gotten to the root cause. Let me give you an example, right? Why are you in the relationship you are in? For example, let's just use that off our head. Why are you in the relationship you are in? You say, oh, because I love the person is amazing, the person is great. Okay. Why is that person amazing and great? Oh, because the person is a very kind person. Okay. Why is that person kind? Oh, because the person is born again. Why is that person born again? So you see, you're going deeper beyond just the butterflies in your tummy for why you like the person. This is the 5 why framework. And when you're able to use this 5 why framework, you always arrive at root cause. You always arrive at root cause because you're going beyond the surface. You're going down to the root. You're going down. Remember, with why, you get to dig deep. So I would like you to go practice this 5 why framework once you leave this conversation. Right? Why? Oh, let's say you are saving. Why are you saving? I'm saving so I can have money. Why do you want to have money? Oh, I want to have money because I do not want to be begging. Why don't you want to be begging? Because it makes you look like a burden to other people. Why don't you want to be a burden? Because I want to be responsible for myself. Why do you want to be responsible for yourself? So you see, the more you ask the why, the more you arrive at the real reason. Even with yourself, ask yourself this 5 framework of why. Why are you studying the course you're studying? Oh, because it's lucrative when I graduate. Why do you think it's lucrative when you graduate? Oh, because there are many job opportunities from that particular discipline. Why are there many job opportunities from that discipline? So see, by the time you really get to the 5th why, you gain clarity. So you must practice this 5 why framework. So when people tell you things, don't just accept it. Begin the 5 why framework. Why this? Okay. Okay. Why this? Okay. Good. Why this? Are you getting this? It just begins to help you remove the layers, remove the layers, remove the layers till you arrive at where you really should be. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? Let me know in the comments if this is making sense for you, if you're learning something, right? Now, you see, in the game of life, why is the game changer? In the game called life, why is the game changer? You want to change the game of your life? Ask why. Why is the game changer? Now, let me explain this. In 2 Kings chapter 7, in chapter 6, there was a great famine towards the end. And Elisha had come to say, by this time tomorrow, a bag of wheat will be sold for a shekel and 2 bags of barley for less than a shekel. And then the king economic advisor says, oh, even if God opens the window of heavens, this that you have said will not happen. This was in 2 Kings chapter 7, the earlier part, right? In chapter 6, there was a great famine. The women were killing their children to eat. After they had finished eating animal dung, they were not killing their children to eat. And one had cried to the king, oh, king, help me. And the king had said, if God does not help us, how can I help? In chapter 7 of 2 Kings, in the Bible, Elisha came and said, by this time tomorrow, a bag of wheat will be sold for a shekel and 2 bags of barley for less than a shekel. And the king economic advisor says, even if God opens the window of heaven, what you have said will not happen. And Elisha looked at him and said, you will see it, but you will not partake of it. Now, guess what happened? There were 4 lepers who were sitting at the outside of the city, at the outskirts of the city. And they said to themselves, why sit we here and die? So if we go back into the city, we'll die of famine. If we go to the enemy's camp, perhaps they will kill us. But why sit we here and die? Now that question, why, was the game changer. Because the moment they decided that they were going to the enemy's camp, God made the feet of the lepers to sound like a marching army. And then the enemy in their camp, they heard the marching army sound, which were 4 lepers. And they said, oh, perhaps the king of Israel had gone to hire mercenaries to fight against us. And they fled their camp, leaving everything behind. All their supplies and everything, they left it behind and they fled the camp. By the time these 4 lepers arrived at the camp was empty. In fact, they actually felt it was an ambush, but they checked around, nobody was there. And then they saw all the supplies. They first ate to their full, and then they went back and told the king and said, this is what we discovered. And the whole city trooped down to the camp. And this king economic advisor saw it, but in the stampede, he was killed. Just like Elisha has said, he will see it, but will not partake of it. Why did I have to use that analogy? To see that why is the game changer in the game of life? Because the moment those 4 lepers said to themselves, why sit we here and die? That was what changed the story, not just for them, but for the entire nation of Israel at the time. So you see, you want to change your life? It's time to start asking yourself the question, why am I here? Why am I doing this? It's time to start asking yourself the question, why? Because why is the game changer in the game of life. See this, guys. Purpose and reason is best expressed through why. Purpose and reason is best expressed through why. So to know the purpose of a thing, to know the reason of a thing, it's best expressed through why. Miles Monroe once said that when the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. Are you getting this? So understand that purpose and reason is best expressed through why. So with why, you understand the purpose. With why, you understand the reason. It's best expressed through why. And you see, why sometimes is what leads you to meaning. The meaning you put to things is as a result of the why you have discovered. So why sometimes leads you to meaning. Whatever things mean to you is because of the why you've attached to those things. So you see, we say in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that nothing means anything except for the meaning that we attach to it. And you see, sometimes why is what leads you to meaning. Are you getting this, guys? If you're getting this, type in the comment, getting this. Let me know that you're getting this. Type in the comment, getting this, so I know that you are really getting this, right? See this. Nothing forces you out of your comfort zone. Guys, listen to this. Nothing forces you to confront yourself, your intentions, your motivation, and your behavior like why. Nothing. Nothing forces you to confront yourself, your intention, your motivation, your behavior like why. Nothing. Does this make sense for you? Nothing forces you to confront yourself, your intentions, your motivations, your behavior like why. Nothing. And you see, seeking why is hard. See, that's why I told you earlier that why can make you uncomfortable. So seeking why can be hard because it can make you uncomfortable, right? But not seeking why is often easier, more comfortable, and even necessary for survival. So, people keep saying what you don't know won't hurt you, right? Because it's easier that way. It's more comfortable that way. It helps your survival that way. But like I always say, what you don't know is already hurting you. Yes, what you don't know is already hurting you. Are you understanding this? Is this making sense for you? Now, see this, guys. Why do people not ask why? Have you ever figured out why people don't ask why? Because I always wonder why people don't ask why. Because if why is to help you gain clarity, why don't you ask why? If why is to help you gain understanding, why don't you ask why? But I figured out why people don't ask why. Yeah. And I'll tell you. But one reason why people don't ask why is because of mental laziness. Yeah. They feel it's exhausting, so they don't need to ask why. The reason why you don't question some things is because you are mentally lazy. Yeah. You don't want to do the mental work. That's why you don't ask why. Mental laziness is the first reason why people don't ask why. Mental laziness. There's the physical laziness where you're physically lazy, and there's the mental laziness where you're mentally lazy, and this one is even worse. Because I tell people this all the time, that until you are mentally ready, you'll never be physically prepared. I say that a lot. Until you are mentally ready, you'll never be physically prepared. So the reason why people don't ask why, number one, is because of mental laziness. They feel it's exhausting. The second reason why people don't ask why is because they feel ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss. Because scripture says, my people are destroyed for their lack of knowledge. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is destruction. Ignorance is deadly. Ignorance is not bliss. In the world that we live in today, you cannot afford to be an ignoramus. You just cannot afford. It's too expensive for you to be ignorant. It's too expensive. You've heard people say that if education is expensive, try ignorance. Ignorance is more expensive. Ignorance is more costly. Ignorance is not bliss. Knowledge is bliss. Ignorance is not. This is the second reason why people don't ask why. Because they feel ignorance is bliss. So because I don't know, it won't affect me. It has already affected you because you don't even know. Ignorance is not bliss. Second reason why people don't ask why, they think ignorance is bliss, but ignorance is not bliss. The third reason why people don't ask why is the group mentality. Okay, everybody's okay with it, so I'm okay with it. The group mentality, the head mentality. Everybody's heading that direction, so I'll head that direction. Have you seen where back in the day where there was ATM machines, not now that there are POS everywhere. Where there were ATM machines, you go to the bank, sometimes you see 3 ATM machines. One has a very long line. People are waiting for their turn in queue. And there are 2 other machines that are also working, but people are not there. Why? Because when you come to an ATM machine spot and then you see people on the queue, your first thinking is to join the queue rather than try to use the other ATMs that are there. Because you feel like as long as people are on the queue, this may be the only ATM that is paid. There's suddenly somebody who comes there who doesn't follow the head mentality, the group mentality. He goes to the next ATM, he does his transaction, and he leaves. Suddenly you see that people begin to leave this queue to now use the other machines. That's what happens in group mentality. Because people don't ask why. We just join the queue. You don't ask why. It's the group mentality, right? The threat of being the odd one, the social cohesion. Everybody is doing it. And then tradition. This is the tradition. And I've always said this tradition at its best is nothing but peer pressure from dead people. Are you getting this? Tradition is nothing but peer pressure from dead people. Question the tradition. Ask why. Because the time the tradition was set, it may have been favorable then, but times have changed. So why do we still keep a tradition that have outlived its time and relevance? Because no one is asking why. And that's why I keep saying that tradition, at its best, is nothing but peer pressure from dead people. Because the people who installed those traditions are long dead. It may have helped in their lifetime, but it's not helping in this lifetime. But people still maintain tradition because of their refusal to ask why. Are you getting this? See this, guys. This is a very critical question. The other reason why people don't ask why is because of awareness. They don't have awareness. They're not aware. They're not aware. Remember, I told you, until you are mentally ready, you'll never be physically prepared. People are not aware. So because you lack awareness, it's always difficult for you to ask why. Everything that comes, you take it. But see, awareness comes from exposure and education. You begin to get awareness through exposure, you begin to get awareness through education. So these are 4 reasons why people don't ask why. Number 1, the mental laziness. Number 2, ignorance is bliss. Number 3, group mentality. And number 4, awareness. This is why people don't ask why. But you see, let me give you some biblical examples of why. Biblical examples, and I'll give you just 2, right? So you can always remember them easily. Just 2. Remember the 4 lepers I told you about earlier in 2 Kings chapter 7? Why sit we here and die? They changed their story completely by that question. They changed the lives of the whole nation of Israel by that question. Because the miracle that ensued happened after they asked themselves that question and they took action. The second is the prodigal son. Luke 15. He's taking his inheritance from his father. He had gone to do a righteous living in a distant land, and now he was in want and nobody gave to him. And he began to feed with swine. But one day, he came to himself and he said, in my father's house, the servants have enough to eat and to spare. Why do I languish here in hunger? I would arise and go back to my father, and I'll tell him I'm no longer worthy to be called his son, but he should make me one of his hired servants. The moment he had that why moment, his story changed, because he went back home and the father restored him back to sonship. See this, guys. With why, you can adapt. With why, you can innovate. With why, you can see the big picture. This is why it's important for you to understand why. With why, you can adapt. With why, you can innovate. With why, you can see the big picture. I see there are 3 things that makes for complete knowledge, right? To know that your knowledge is complete. 3 things makes for complete knowledge. Number 1, what? Number 2, how? Number 3, why? This makes for complete holistic knowledge. What? How? Why? What is this? How is it done? Why is it done? This makes for complete knowledge. What, how, why. Are you getting this? Does this make sense to you? Right? See, why gives you both practical and fundamental knowledge. So when you get to know the why, you have both practical and fundamental knowledge. That's what why gives you. It gives you both practical and fundamental knowledge. Because what makes for complete knowledge? What, how, and why. See this, guys. Why helps you understand the question from the answer. You know, I've always said this, that questions are more important than answer. Why helps you understand the question from the answer. And that's deep, guys. That's deep. Pay attention to that. Why helps you understand the question from the answer. And you see, the most rebellion that you can do is to ask why. If you want to come off as rebellious, which is okay, because you don't want to follow the crowd, you want to be different, you want to be you, ask why. And then you'll be termed rebellious. Yeah. Ask why. And you see, why breaks you from unthinking compliance? You know, people swallow things hook, line, and sinker. They have unthinking compliance. They're not even thinking about it, they just comply. But why breaks you away from unthinking compliance? You have to think for yourself. You have to understand why you do what you do. So why breaks you away from unthinking compliance? You just comply without thinking. Why helps you to break out from that mode of unthinking compliance? Are you getting this? See this, guys. See this. Millions saw the apple fall. Only Isaac Newton asked why. Yeah, everyone saw the apple fall, but only Isaac Newton asked why. Why? And that question why led him to discover gravity. Are you getting this? See, always asking why is the most important habit that you can develop, because it is the only. Always asking why is the most important habit that you can develop, because, guys, it's the only thing that ensures that the life you are living is truly your own. Always asking why, right, is the most important habit you can develop, because it is the only thing that ensures that the life you're living is actually your own. Because you're asking why. And it's very important that you're asking why. See, why gives you a sharp mind. Why helps you figure out your authentic self. Why helps you live a meaningful life. It all comes down to why. It gives you a sharp mind. It helps you be your authentic self. It gives you a meaningful life. It comes down to why. When you ask why, you have a sharp mind, because you're putting your brain to work. You don't have mental laziness. When you ask why, you're becoming your authentic self. You're not following the crowd. When you ask why, you are living a meaningful life, because you understand purpose. Are you getting this? So it's important that you're asking why. Why are you spending your time here to watch Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade every Sunday? Why? because you want to improve your life. It's important you're asking why. It's important. It's very important you're asking why. Why is it important for you to ask why? Why is it important? Number one, it protects you from being controlled. Remember, you break away from unthinking compliance when you're asking why. So it protects you from being controlled. Why helps you have a mind of your own? A lot of people don't have a mind of their own. Just follow what everyone else is doing. They don't have a mind of their own. But why helps you to have a mind of your own? It protects you from being controlled. In the world that we live in today, people have no idea that they are being controlled. Because the real remote doesn't look like a remote. Are you getting this? The real remote, it doesn't look like a remote. It doesn't. Why is it important for you to ask why? Number one, it protects you from being controlled. Number two, it deepens your understanding and it kills superficiality. When you ask why, it deepens your understanding, it kills superficiality. You go beyond the surface. Your understanding is deepened when you ask why. This is why it's important you ask why, to have depth. To have depth, it deepens your understanding. Why is it important to ask why? It drives innovation and progress. You know, Henry Ford once said that if he had asked people what they wanted, they would have said they wanted faster horses. But he moved from horses to cars. Why? Because he knew this was the only way to drive innovation and progress. Imagine if today we are still riding horses. Just imagine that today we are still riding horses as the main means of transportation. But someone thought about it. Why are we using horses? Why can't that be something more convenient, something more comfortable? Are you getting this? So why drives innovation and progress? Why is it important to ask why? Why is it important to ask why? Because it leads you to your true self. Asking why leads you to your authentic self. That's why I told us earlier, practice the 5 why framework on yourself. It will lead you to your authentic self. And you see, asking why cultivates wisdom and humility. When you're asking why, you gain wisdom, you gain humility. When you're asking why. See this, guys. There's also something that is called the paralysis of why. People sometimes who ask why get into the paralysis of why, in the sense that they no longer take action because they've been asking so many whys. That's the paralysis of why. But that should not be your case. Know when to stop asking why and trust the how for the rest. Let me say that again so you can understand. I say, know why to ask why and trust the how for the rest. So you must know when to stop asking why, know when to ask why, and then trust the how for the rest. This, my friends, this is our conversation for today. And this conversation has been why. It sounds cheesy, but it's a very critical conversation that we should be asking ourselves. Why? Especially the 5 why framework. Ask yourself. Everything that you're doing, put it through the 5 why framework. You'll be shocked at what you would arrive at. You'll be shocked. You will be shocked. Trust me. Try it out and let me know the feedback. The 5 why framework in anything that you're doing. Why? 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 And why? you'll be shocked at what you would arrive at. So, guys, this is it. This is our conversation for today. And this is what we want you to pay attention to in this season. Ask why. Don't swallow anything you're told hook, line, and sinker. Ask why. And then you may arrive at the real reason for what it is that is being done. So, guys, we want to appreciate all of you who joined us for this conversation live. Those of you who are watching the replay, thank you so much for joining. We are super excited to have you. Like I always say, if this is your first time joining us, let us know that it's your first time. We have our special gift for our first time. So if it's your first time, whether you're watching the live or you're watching the replay, and this is your first time ever coming here, drop in the comment, first timer. We have a special gift for you. The team will reach out to you and send you our special gift as a first timer, right? And also, like we always say, do well to share with your friends, family, and loved ones, because you have no idea how you may just be changing their lives when you share this with them. Guys, 3 things will happen for you in this new week. Yes, 3 things will happen for you in this new week and in this new month, and you've entered the month of March. 3 things will happen for you in this new week. Number 1, increased voice of God. Number 2, open heavens over your life. And number 3, more angelic activities in all that you do. Remember, guys, there's always more on the upgrade side of life. And that's why we always encourage you that you get to leave good behind so that you can upgrade. And what better way for you to upgrade than to ask yourself, why? Yes, why? And we always tell you this, please do well to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so that you don't get to miss out when we have conversations like this, right? And do well to also share this with your friends, your families, your loved ones, and even your enemies, right? Share it with them. You may just be helping them in ways you would never know. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're super excited. Happy new month once again. And I pray that the month of March, you will make progress in all that you do with speed and with ease, right? You make progress with speed and with ease. And God himself be your shield and your defense this month of March. Thank you so much for watching. Until we come your way again, remember, there's always more on the upgrade side of life. And that's why we encourage you that you leave good behind so that you can upgrade. And what better way for you to upgrade than to start asking yourself why? Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.